The story begins at an airport where we see a pilot named Brad rushing towards the plane while video calling his daughter. His daughter tells him she saw the news this morning that the weather in the area he's flying to is very bad, which has caused many other flights to be canceled. She asks him to cancel his flight and come home. Brad smiles and replies that he has flown safely many times in such weather, so she shouldn't worry. He'll be home soon. Happy, she cuts the call. Brad then goes into the cockpit and meets the co-pilot, who is a bit nervous because this is his first time flying a route. Suddenly, a flight attendant calls Brad outside, where a police officer informs him that due to an emergency, he has to take a murderer named Tony with him. Tony is a very powerful and dangerous man accused of murder, and he is being transported on the plane to another country to be put in jail for life. The officer tells Brad they are giving him this responsibility because he is a capable and sensible pilot. Brad agrees and seats Tony in the very last row so he doesn't disturb the other passengers. All the passengers sit down, and Brad confirms with the staff that everyone is on board. The plane then takes off. Once at altitude, Brad puts the plane on autopilot and starts talking to the co-pilot about his family. Brad shows the co-pilot a photo of his daughter and says he loves her very much, and they only have each other in the world. On the other side, the passengers are enjoying the journey, unaware that something bad is about to happen. Both pilots in the cockpit are also happy, and the flight is normal. But suddenly, the weather turns bad, and the plane starts to shake slightly, which worries Brad because something doesn't feel right. He announces for all passengers to fasten their seatbelts and tries to contact the control tower via radio, but he can't, as the bad weather has disabled all the radios. Suddenly, a powerful jolt of lightning hits the plane, causing it to shake violently. Brad leaves the cockpit to check on the passengers. Seeing them safe gives Brad a little relief, but the lights are slowly going out. The plane gets several more jolts, causing Brad's head to hit the ceiling and he falls down, injuring his forehead. Seeing this situation, all the passengers start panicking. Brad quickly returns to the cockpit and, with his co-pilot, starts trying to control the plane. This was a very difficult time for them. Due to the bad weather, they couldn't see anything ahead. Brad says they must take the plane lower because if it gets another jolt, it could be destroyed. They immediately start reducing the plane's altitude, and the plane rapidly descends. The passengers inside are very scared. Meanwhile, the police officer accompanying the criminal Tony drops his phone. He unbuckles his seatbelt to pick it up. A flight attendant also unbuckles her seatbelt to help him. Since the plane is descending rapidly, as soon as their seatbelts are off, both of them are flung upwards, hitting the ceiling violently. They hit the ceiling so hard that they die immediately. At this point, the plane is at a very low altitude, and somehow both pilots manage to control it. However, the plane doesn't have much power left, so Brad can't reach an airport. He considers a crash landing in the sea. But then, they both spot an island in the distance. Brad steers the plane towards the island and decides to land there. After many difficulties, Brad finally makes an emergency landing on a road on the island. Luckily, all the passengers are safe in this emergency landing, and no one is seriously injured. Just then, there's a short circuit at the back of the plane, which makes Brad happy because it shows there's still a little bit of electricity left. After all the passengers exit the plane, a flight attendant informs Captain Brad that the police officer who was taking the criminal Tony has died, and a flight attendant was also killed. Brad is very upset to hear this. Meanwhile, the airline owner notices one of his planes has suddenly gone missing. He hadn't seen it land, and due to the radio failure, he couldn't contact the pilot. So, the owner calls a rescue expert named Scarce Dale, who specializes in finding people trapped in difficult situations. The owner asks him for all the details of the plane, such as where it went, its flight path, and where all the passengers are. The rescue expert gets to work. On the island, all the passengers wonder why they landed there. Brad gathers them all and explains that they had to land there due to an emergency. He tells them there's still some power in the plane which they will use to fix other things. Until then, they should relax and not worry. They will get out soon. Brad goes to the plane and starts working to fix it, but he realizes the plane has very little power. They will have to wait for help. They take out a map to figure out their location. The co-pilot looks at the map and tells Brad they are stuck on a private island. This place is very dangerous and home to people who don't follow any government rules. If these people catch them, their lives could be in danger, and their government won't be able to save them. Hearing this, Brad says they must somehow call their rescue team to come and save them all, as this is the only way out. The two pilots start trying to fix the radio to call for help, but the lightning strike completely destroyed it. Brad goes back to the passengers and tells them that the radio isn't working due to a fault, but assures them not to worry. Brad tells them they will go to the other side of the island, find a working radio, tell the control tower their location, and send the rescue team to save them all. Here, Brad makes a big decision. He says Tony will go with him. Saying this, he unlocks Tony's handcuffs. Brad tells the co-pilot to work on repairing the plane's power, and he will try to contact the rescue team as soon as possible to bring them there. After this, Tony and Brad head into the jungle to find a radio. On the way, Tony starts talking to Brad, but then suddenly, Tony's voice stops. When Brad turns back, Tony is not there. He had escaped. Brad continues alone into the jungle. As Brad moves forward, he enters an abandoned factory where he finds an old-fashioned telephone. The phone is broken, so Brad starts connecting the wires on the side and the phone starts working. Brad quickly calls the company's helpline, tells them his location and all the details. However, due to some line interference, his voice isn't reaching the person on the other end clearly. So the helpline cuts the call. Then Brad gets an idea. He calls his daughter and asks her to write down his location and all the other information on a piece of paper and deliver it to his office. Just then, during the conversation, a man attacks Brad from behind. Brad manages to overpower the man after a struggle and beats him unconscious. Brad then senses another man entering the room, so he quickly hides. But that man is none other than Tony, who had killed many thugs and taken their weapons. Tony calls out to Brad, "Don't be afraid, come out." When Brad comes out, Tony hands him a gun for his protection. Next, when they go to the lower floor of the factory, they find a camera. The camera recordings and the passports lying there reveal that the terrorists living on this island kidnap people and demand a large ransom from their families. They hurry towards the passengers. Meanwhile, all the passengers are waiting for Brad, hoping he will bring help soon. Suddenly, they hear the sound of a vehicle. Hearing the vehicle, they are happy and think Brad has called the rescue team. But it's not the rescue team. It's the terrorists living on the island. They start firing shots to scare the passengers. Brad and Tony also hear the shots and increase the speed of their vehicle, trying to reach the plane quickly. The leader of the terrorist group demands the passenger list from the flight attendant. Scared, the flight attendant quickly gives him the list. Then a gang member asks the co-pilot where his senior pilot is. The co-pilot replies that he went into the jungle for some work but hasn't returned yet. Just then, Brad and Tony also arrive, but they are secretly watching the terrorists from a distance. During this, a woman tries to run away, but the terrorists shoot and kill her. Seeing this, Brad starts to go help them, but Tony stops him, saying, "Stay calm. It's not the right time to go." The gang leader puts all the passengers on a bus and tells two of his men to stay behind and take any valuable items from inside the plane. After the gang leaves, Brad gets angry at Tony, saying, "They took our passengers and you didn't let me go." Tony explains that they were too many people, and even if Brad had gone, he couldn't have fought such a big army alone. Now, the two of them head towards the plane and capture the two thugs who were stealing valuables from the plane. Brad asks them at gunpoint where their leader took the passengers. They reveal that their hideout is nearby, and they must have gone there. On the other side, Brad's daughter gives the written paper to the rescue expert, which contains the plane's location and all the information. The rescue expert uses satellite help to locate the plane. They find out the plane is stuck on an island with a dangerous terrorist group. Following this, the rescue officer calls the captain of a private army team, explains the situation, and tells him to go to the island. Now, Brad writes a message on his uniform and leaves it for the arriving private army team. He then leaves with Tony for the place where the gang took all the passengers. Taking a route through the jungle, the two reach the terrorists' hideout. They get out of the car and quietly sneak into the area where the thugs are scaring the passengers and making videos of them to send to their families to demand ransom. Meanwhile, the private team sent by the rescue expert also arrives at the plane. Finding no one there, the team leader checks inside the plane where he finds 2 bodies. These were the 2 people the gang leader told to steal valuables from the plane, but Brad had killed them. The private team captain also finds the message left by Brad, which leads them to the terrorist gang's hideout. Tony and Brad are quietly keeping an eye on the terrorist hideout. As soon as they get a chance, they sneak up and kill 2 terrorist gang members from behind. Then, they quietly move forward and reach a room where all the passengers are locked up. Brad wants to free these people, but there are many guards watching and Brad doesn't have the key to unlock the door. Following this, the 2 of them kill the guards one by one, and Tony even uses a hammer to kill several guards. When Brad looks at the passengers, they are all very scared. Now, Brad decides to risk his life and tells Tony, "I will distract all the terrorists present there, and you take the opportunity to take all the passengers away from here." Tony initially refuses, saying, "They will kill you if you do that." But Brad replies, "We have no other choice." Hearing this, Tony agrees. Brad leaves and goes to the terrorists. He talks to the gang leader, saying, "The rescue team will be here soon, so let all the passengers go." Hearing this, all the gang members laugh at Brad and start beating him up. The gang leader says, "How can I let them go? I don't let anyone go without money." Just as they are about to kill Brad, the private rescue team arrives and attacks the terrorists. After a long exchange of fire, they kill many of the gang members and free Brad. They put Brad on a bus and leave. The gang leader sees his little brother dead along with many of his colleagues. He becomes enraged and swears he won't leave a single one of them alive and will kill them all one by one. He tells his team to get ready quickly, as they will soon leave to kill these people. On the bus, the private team captain tells everyone, "We are just a small private team of 5 people who came on a mission to save you. We are not the official rescue team. The real rescue team will take some more time to get here." Hearing this, Brad panics and says, "We don't have time. The gang members will come after us soon and kill us on sight. But I have an idea." Reaching the plane, Brad tells all the passengers that the power is back on, meaning the plane will start and they will leave immediately. He tells them all to quickly get on the plane because they can't wait for the rescue team. It will take too long for them to arrive, and if they stay, they will be killed by the terrorists. Hearing this, everyone gets on the plane. Brad starts checking all the plane's systems, and the private team members get ready for the fight that's coming. Suddenly, the terrorist group attacks them, and the private team engages them. There's a lot of gunfire from both sides, but the private team has better guns, allowing them to kill many thugs. Brad quickly tells the private team leader that he will start the plane in the next 5 minutes and that they all should quickly get on board. Brad then goes to Tony and thanks him for being by his side during this difficult time. Brad ducks and dodges bullets as he enters the plane and sits in the cockpit with his co-pilot to start the plane. Meanwhile, Tony runs out of bullets. When he checks the private team's bag for more, he finds a bag full of money. But this time, Tony leaves the money and takes bullets from another bag to continue fighting the terrorists. By now, Brad has turned the plane to the right. The private team soldiers start boarding the plane one by one, with Tony providing cover fire. With the power back on, the radio is also working. The airline owner tells Brad that he will guide him to a safe place where he can land. Everyone boards the plane, but Tony doesn't. He takes the bag full of money and starts running into the jungle. If he returned with them, the police would catch him again and put him back in jail. The gang leader, seeing his men dying, goes crazy with anger. He brings a rocket launcher in front of the plane, intending to blow them up in one shot. But Tony spots him just in time. Tony quickly picks up his gun, shoots, and kills the gang leader, saving everyone's lives. Brad is very happy with Tony's action. Brad uses all his strength and manages to successfully take off the plane. Seeing this, Tony is happy for all the passengers and Brad. He then takes the bag full of money and runs off into the jungle. Brad flies the plane away from the island, and the plane owner guides him to an airport that is now quite close. Brad steers the plane towards the location given by the airline company. But then, once again, the plane's engine catches fire and the plane starts to fail. So, Brad issues another emergency warning and tries to bring the plane down slowly onto the runway. Finally, after great difficulty, Brad lands the plane on the runway, and everyone's life is saved. Brad and his co-pilot are very happy. The airline owner and his team are also very pleased. Brad goes to check on the passengers and sees that everyone is safe, which brings him peace. All the passengers standing there start clapping for Brad and thanking him. A little later, the rescue team also arrives for them, making all the passengers happy. Brad sends all the passengers off with the rescue team, and the captain finally takes a breath of relief, sits on the plane's steps, and talks to his daughter on the phone. The story ends here. If you liked the video, please subscribe to our channel and like the video.